Okay, I think that this was a good episode, but I'm very confident in stating that this was also the worst episode of the season thus far. Why, you may be wondering? Well, mainly it was because of stupid mistakes done on the people on the former Solana tribe, along with a bunch of arrogant or slightly full of themselves moments done by members on the Apari tribe because Spencer at the beginning of the episode, Kaz throughout the episode, Ralph throughout the episode, and a tiny bit of like Tasha and Jeremiah. Just the way they were behaving, it just didn't really go well with me. This episode definitely had an air of negativity that the past episodes haven't, and also there really wasn't, any real development really that much between the cast other than that rift between Kaz and Sarah, and that was it. But let me tell you, I enjoyed the episode. It was interesting to see the two tribes talk to each other. That was a good challenge, and that was an interesting tribal. So, going into the episode, everyone on the former Apollo tribe is thinking, we've got the number 65 and we can take control of this game. But as I was watching the episode, I honestly decided I didn't want to see that happen because, yes, there are all people that I like on both tribes, but, if it ends up being one of these two post-switch tribes just taking out the other, it's not going to be as interesting. So, I was like, well, because there's definitely going to be one of these tribes outperforming the other, I'd rather it be Solana doing it because I like the majority of the people there. We have three very good strategic thinkers there and two people that are nice people to see mingle in the mix. In that situation, whereas on a party, we just have three strategic thinkers, one person whose head is like nowhere, one person who we don't know what's going to happen to her, and then we have Morgan. Yeah, that's really all I can say, is just she's Morgan. Kind of funny, right? So based on like how Spencer was kind of being a little arrogant or full of himself in his uh, confessional at the beginning of the episode, I got the feeling that actually Solana would try and make one heck of an effort to really combat the Apollo members, so I was pretty glad at how Tony at least was originally trying to sway Sarah over, but Sarah has a right to be pissed, not just at Tony, but also the members of her own tribe, because what Kaz was doing to her was not that great, but what Tony did, yelling top five, just ostracizing her when Cliff and Lindsay are both gone, so she's the only other broad member. So yeah, I do understand her situation, but like, where did the rift really come from with her and Kaz? Now I get the idea that uncertainty gets people pissed, because like Rob Sesternino got pissed at Christy from the Amazon, yes, I stole that from him, and then John from Marquesas got pissed at Gabriel, which is why they voted him out instead of Boston Rob, although ironically I wish I had, even though I am a Rob fan, except Marquesas, but yeah, I think you guys get that idea. So I'm not gonna really spend too much time, throwing out a lot of these like hypothetical situations or don't piss off these people because AfterBuzz TV and Rob Sesternino have already said that. Dalton Ross has kind of said the same thing, and Sarah and Pav are going to be discussing that kind of situation. So let's just skip that, I think. So the immunity challenge. I was just amazed at how fast everyone just fell off because I was like, once they were good ways into the second round, I'm surprised that no one's fallen off yet because in Kara mode, only 3 out of 8 people made it to the final round, but then they all get on there and they just keep tumbling all over the place, and that was just hilarious. But then, we got the situation where Rue triumphs over Tony when it looked like he was totally going to fall off, along with pretty much everybody else once he got to the top. And then there's the infamous debate about the shoes he was wearing. Now, I did notice the type of shoes that he was wearing while I was watching the video, but I didn't think that much of it. But after it was pointed out to me by Jerry and a couple people in the comments, I realized, you know what, they're right. That totally allowed him some more traction because... Hold on. So I've got ordinary shoes here, okay? So you see the flat surface with a little bit of an indent. Given how that surface that they're standing on is very thin and probably slippery, bobbing on the water and with high wind gusts, it's a little tricky to get a grip with this. Woo's shoes, however, have those little bumps all over the place so you can get a grip. And you gotta remember, they also are able to turn sideways this time because they removed the small wooden barrier in the middle that they had in Caramon. So, yeah, it was a tad bit unfair, and I really wish that this had been addressed, and like with Jeff's comments or something like that. I bet I'll probably learn a little bit more of that with somebody's interview someday, possibly, but I don't know. But anyway. So then, after that immunity challenge, it becomes obvious that the people most likely to go are Jeffra, Kaz, and Sarah. And Jeffra and Sarah were two of the people that I predicted would go based on Jeff's line saying that you won't believe who goes next. So then they head into Tribal. Pretty interesting dynamics of the tribal discussion, that kind of thing. And then we get the discussion about Tony and the idol. And like, I thought I just face planted when Tony actually pulled out the idol. I'm like, Tony, you can easily pass it off either way in that you have the idol or you don't have it. So, you know, just why did you pull that out? That was just a dumb move. And then like him playing it for LJ based on how they were saying other one, because it's obvious that they were going to vote for you based on how they were scrambling in that situation. And I agree, it does kind of make sense that they were Tony thought that LJ was going to be getting the votes from them, but us viewers, we know that actually they're going to the target that's actually less of a threat to them but is more surprising, that kind of thing. But then LJ makes an even crazier mistake and gives up the idol that nobody would have suspected that he had, and then he gives it to Tony when he should have been able to pick it up. I was just double-face plant. That was just dumb because, okay, it's revealed to us that they would have triumphed anyway, so they just forfeited one heck of an advantage to their team. And because we've got the Tyler Perry, damn it, I didn't want to use that metaphor, Super Idol in play next week, they aren't going to rehide those idols because the Super Idol is going to take place of that. So just... they just wasted a lot of their advantage, and it's still 5-5 as of the end of this episode. Yeah, I thought that was dumb. So I was expecting that Kaz actually wouldn't flip on Sarah, because given how the idols were pulled and you didn't know about it, although you actually did know about Tony's idol, just not LJ's idol, I thought that would have been enough to convince her to keep with that side and then vote out Jeffra, but surprisingly, she flips and votes out Sarah. Well, I was actually glad to see that happen, as I've kind of already stated. Sarah was being a little arrogant, but so was Kaz, and just I'm enjoying what's happening on that Solana tribe, and I thought a Apari splitting would be a little more interesting to see. So that's that for the episode. As for next week, well, surprisingly, Kaz and Morgan are going to be going at it, and it's going to be interesting to see what'll happen when Morgan gets some airtime again, because, let's face it, there really hasn't been that much to her. She's just been selling out the other members of her tribe, although unlike what they did to her, she had reason for it, and then, of course, the bit of her and Bryce getting ostracized from the group back in episode 2. So it'll be interesting to see a little more camera time with her. And if she's getting more camera time, I honestly hope Wu gets a little more camera time because I'd like to know a bit of a plot line for him. Jeremiah, forget about him, just vote him out. Come on, huh? Oh, and Spencer's comment about Kaz having zero chance of winning the million? I don't know. People have flipped on alliances in situations like that and have gotten pretty far. And have had a shot at it because, like Rob Sesternino, he flipped on like 3 or 4 different alliances and made it to the final 3. And then he actually could have won if had Matthew won that final immunity, because I think if Matthew had won the final immunity, Jenna would have gone, but I digress. Fairplay flipped, and had he made final 2, well, Lil would have beaten him, we know that, and then him versus Sandra, that would have been interesting to see. You could have made a case for it. And then I thought there was one other example. Oh yeah, Maddie flipped on Ken and Crystal, and had he made it to the final 3, whether or not Bob was there or not, I think he would have won. Yeah. So don't count her out just yet, Spencer. Look at her actions for next episode. But yeah, next episode is going to determine basically her fate along with, I think, his fate. So now that I'm done discussing the episode in general, let's talk about where I think everyone is at right now and try and find some top picks to win, because this is where I usually make the top picks. So, Spencer, well, he's getting a bit of an arrogant side to him now, although now he was in a nice position, so I don't view it as him being on a bad tribe and stuff like that. Now he and the other brains are just ordinary contestants in a typical game. So I'm not too really picky about what happens to Spencer, honestly. He could go down the wayside, he could actually get a lot farther in this game, whatever. But if I had to place my bets on a brain leaving, I think I'd bet it on him, simply because he's younger than the other 2 are. Tasha, well, I can't really talk about her that much because she was pretty much the brain member that got to the top 4 on that tribe that got the least amount of camera time, so I like her, and I bet she has a good potential to get far, but who knows? Anything could happen with her. Kaz, like with Tasha, anything can happen, but it's going to be a little more obvious to us where she stands with next episode. And one thing I forgot to mention was, even though the tribe that I wanted to see triumphed, I really hope it isn't just these 2 tribes constantly going at each other after the merge. I'm just hoping for both tribes to crack and then a new alliance forms with members from both of those tribes. What that alliance will be, I don't know, but I really hope that happens. So that's them. Woo, just get more camera time and I'll tell you my thoughts on you later, Woo. Tony, I'm really liking seeing the kind of chaos that he's creating here. He did kind of overplay it a bit this episode and make stupid mistakes, but he wasn't the only one, and I'm anxious to see what he keeps doing. Trish, I think we should watch out for her. She's got potential, mind you. Kind of surprising. Jeremiah, head of the clouds, get rid of this guy, come on. Morgan, let's see her interaction with Kaz next episode and get a little bit more thoughts on her, because, well, I have been interested in watching Morgan throughout this season. Yes, maybe because she is hot, but I'm not too picky on what happens to her now. She could go at any point and it won't be that big of a deal because she's not a major character. She's just a character that when she gets talked about a lot. LJ, given how, given his gameplay in both the physical and social department, any number of fates could happen to him, and I really hope that when he goes, he's satisfied with his performance. Do I think he's going to win this thing? I don't think so, but he could have a chance. Who knows? So who am I forgetting? Oh yeah, Jeffra. I'm not seeing that much story happening to her because she's now basically the only beauty that we don't really have a good story or position with her. She's just been LJ's white right woman basically this whole time. I haven't been complaining about that because I don't hate Jeffra or anything like that, and I think she's a nice person, and I did want her to stay over Sarah for reasons I think you can figure out, but yeah, not much of a purpose, not seeing that much happening with her, so that's my thoughts on her. Top picks to win at this point, I'm gonna go with, I think I gotta shrink it from 10 people to 3 top picks. I think that's fair. Trish, Tasha, although I could easily replace her with Kaz, so you could easily expect that second pick to keep changing between those two. That's just how I feel. I do hate the fact that I can't choose one over the other. And then as for my third top pick, what the heck, was throwing LJ and just see what happens, huh? So my feelings on these people could change because you have to remember back in Caramone, I said my top picks to win were Cagayan, Dawn, and Andrea, and then of course Andrea got voted out, and then Dawn went way down in the negativity, and Cagayan, well, he went down in the negativity also, but he did a much better game. So yeah, they could change, but that's what I'm saying as of right now. Okay. Sheesh, that went on for a while. This season has just been hell interesting. And it'll be interesting to see where this ranks in the season since HVV department, because I looked back at the rankings recently from best to worst. One World, South Pacific, Bluffers Water, Caramone, Redemption Island, Nick, Philippines. You notice how I rank the 4th season since HVV first, then it's the 3rd season in that 4-group cycle, then it's the other 3rd season, and then it keeps going down? Interesting, huh? And that's pure coincidence, mind you. I haven't planned that.